Oh yes, this is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. And today's show sponsored by who? Cheshire Impact, on a mission to help you maximize your use of Pardot and Salesforce. CheshireImpact.com. Bam! Now, my guest today, so excited to introduce her. She's a brand storyteller, a writer, a speaker. And the stories, these storytelling stories, they involve personalization. They involve customizing the journey so that they speak right to you. Like when you're reading a book and you feel like you're that character. You're there. She's also a community champion, founder and director of Solerno Media. Meredith Crawford, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, Casey.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
delighted to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you're here. You know, I'll have to work on saying your company's name a little bit later on, but the theme of the show is personalization, and it's around that, we were talking earlier, that maturity model for marketing automation and just marketing in general. You got to do certain things in different order and make sure you hit the base stuff first, the foundation, so you're not just out there blasting emails thinking you're doing a good job. So now we're on this roadmap, and we got to the point where we're talking about personalization and customizing that journey. And I thought this would be perfect to introduce you and have you just speak on this. But first and foremost, I need to pass you Thor's hammer and have you smash some myths. Like, what kind of strategies are you hearing out there? Kind of bogus thoughts or strategies or just misconceptions people have around personalization?
I hear so many things about personalization. The first is that personalization is only including the recipient's first name or even just a simple image. And
Right. So like just like a first name, an image, and it's like customizing an email then, you know?
exactly. Just that, hey, Meredith, we thought you might be interested in this offer. Here's the latest product we think you might be interested in. And we're
Got it.
giving you something perhaps like pink roses if you have a flower shop instead of the red roses because we know you're a female instead of the red ones where a man might want to buy the nice long stem 12 roses for his significant other.
Right. So that's not it, as you're saying. There's more to it.
Personalization, that is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Huh.
And personalization has so much depth to it. And in the past few years, I have seen just incredible progress made in the technology of personalization.
Mm. Like how, where is it gone? What are you seeing?
It's going data driven, it's going predictive.
Mm.
And for your listeners who are not familiar with the term predictive, that falls under the AI or in part artificial intelligence
Got it. So,
type technology.
okay, so it's going predictive and it's going to AI. You know, I got one of these things, right? Whenever people talk about AI, think about that movie. What's that movie with the robot? There's like a female robot that kills everyone. Spoiler. But you know, it's like AI or Terminator, the movies. People think of AI as that, right? Are we just throwing around these words? Do they actually? What do we mean by AI, and as it pertains to marketing and personalization and things like that?
AI, as it pertains to marketing, is really statistically driven, and
Got it.
specifically, it's regression driven, where the marketer has a bunch of variables and examples of past behavior, and so through this regression, they can predict what a customer with a certain set of variables could be interested in or what their buying behavior could be.
Huh. Interesting. So it's all based on percentages, or just the data captured?
Some of it is based on data captured. Now regression's getting more and more sophisticated, so it's really going not just with the correlation, but like I said, predictive, where
Right.
if you have someone interested in, using the floral example, someone's come in, um, you know certain things about them. Maybe you know their age, maybe you know their gender, maybe you know that they have an interest or have purchased a certain flower or a certain occasion, floral
Uh,
bouquet before. Then you can predict what they might be interested in,
mm,
based on this statistical model.
interesting. Okay.
And what companies and the marketers are involved who are doing this type of work, what they've seen, of course, is much higher conversion rates.
And so do you need a tool? You need tools for this, or
You
I
need
mean, this is
tools for
deep,
this.
right? You can't do this on your calculator.
No, there's a startup here in San Francisco called Brainify. That is one of the most
Was it Brenify?
Brainify. That
Brainify.
is one of the most
Huh.
advanced in this. And then most people are familiar, or maybe familiar with Rich Relevance, which has less of a predictive model, last I checked with them, and is more correlation focused, from
Oh.
what I understand from there.
Yeah, I Google it and it said relevance is omni-channel personalization technology. Well, bam, it's a mouthful.
So for your listeners, my background is in email marketing and
Okay.
in specifically with running email service platforms. And
Yep.
so these were some of the companies that our clients partnered with to bring deeper personalization
Interesting.
to their email marketing programs.
What were some of the ways they would do that? Like, you know, beyond maybe the flower example, or even that same, would they know that it's springtime and that you always buy a spring arrangement for your mom, you know, at a certain, how far does it take it? You know, what are the possibilities really, I guess? And
The possibilities are really whatever is in the database
yeah.
that is possible.
Okay.
So you need to have data points already in your database. And
Interesting. Yeah.
to get into another myth, another myth that I run into a lot is
Yeah.
that personalization is creative driven.
Okay.
It's the text and it's the image, but it really goes far beyond that to being data driven, where you can personalize something based on time of day someone's opening it. If you go omnichannel, which of course works, um, and harmonizes with email marketing as being one of the channels, you can hit someone with an email and then hit someone with a text or with a something on social
Smoke signal, tweet at
or an
them,
ad.
DM, Facebook message, you know,
Um,
maybe even send them a little winky face on Snapchat, you know, like possibilities are endless.
It is, but the thing is that even to get into omnichannel marketing, that's all data driven.
Right. So what you're smashing here is the idea that we just be creative and just come up with these things. But to your point, you have to have the data points first. I was almost thinking like chicken and the egg. You want to test or you want to do different personalization. I guess testing was previous. Now we're personalizing. And we want to personalize all these things, but you have to have that capture the data already, or set out to capture the data and then plan once you have the data to actually do the project. Interesting.
Right. And what we see a lot of clients do and what we always recommend is doing A/B tests on personalization.
Ah, okay.
So you can do different types of personalization
Yeah, different types.
and test what your database or your customer audience responds to best.
Right. Don't just do it, but test it out with something else. Interesting. Do you have like a, when you think about personalizing things, is there like a go-to list you have of what you want to personalize first or second or third? What has the most impact, you know, from what you've seen out there when you personalize? Because you said it's more than the name or just the header image. There's some deeper things you can, you know, what do you, are there any sweet spots or any little nuggets maybe we can snag from you?
I find that the more you can go beneath the surface into data driven personalization, that converts. at a better rate and is ultimately a better long-term strategy than just having your surface level personalization.
So what do you have any examples of what like that deep level would be?
A deep level would be like we see customers or who have e-commerce stores,
Okay.
and so they see that their customer has bought a product, and then maybe that product's only like a 6-week supply.
Yeah.
So then they send 4 weeks out another email saying, "Hey, we see your supply is almost out. It's time to replenish."
Mm. Being aware of the fact that you'll probably burn through that. That makes a lot of sense. That's interesting. It kind of reminds me of like even those companies that get into, turning like razors into like Dollar Shave turns shaving into like a recurring business, or I think Amazon has those. You can turn on little buttons that said like, just send me paper towels every
Right.
2 months. Yeah. But being more aware of the fact that something probably will run out, or, I've seen this a lot on the B2B side with marketers who target prospects who actually chose a competitor. They chose a competitor,
Yep.
and that technically, if they choose a competitor, there's one in particular I have in mind. You choose them, and you're going to spend about a year, and then you're going to realize you're growing off of them, and you're going to need to go back somewhere, and it behooves you to move off that thing sooner than later, so they know, okay, renewal's coming up. Let's go ahead and send out some nurtures, check in on people, brag a little bit, share some value, and you're going to have people go, oh man, I probably should have gone over there. And let me, my contract's about to be renewed. Let's go ahead and, and let's call them.
Sure. One other company that has really impressed me is Quasi. And
Hmm.
they work with email service providers, which is how I encounter them, but they do a lot of in-app notifications.
Oh, cool.
So if a company has their app on their phone, they can target based on
That's cool.
what the weather is supposed to be that day. So if you're freezing and about to have a snowstorm, you can get an offer for a warm drink versus if you're in the sun, you
That's
can get
cool.
the offer for a cold drink,
Huh.
which is so cool.
I wonder if Starbucks has thought about doing that because I just bought a coffee the other day, but do you get the iced coffee? Do you go the hot route? And if they knew it's a hot day, they just, hey, little sugar-free vanilla iced coffee, just the way you like it. What do you think? Hit this button. I'd be like, yeah, I'll take it. Well, but if it's a cold day, it'd be a complete miss. So to your point, knowing, maybe bringing in data from different points, to your point, the data points, but they don't all have to be your data points, but it could be location data, where the person's at, the weather for that location, where they're at, and their buying habits, your favorite cold drink on a hot day, all combined using AI. Bam, here it is.
Right. And you
That's
see
cool.
right there in your example how many layers of personalization you just added.
How many did I add?
Well,
I
you
just
started off with
read.
the individual person, you added
Yep.
their favorite drink, you did
Person,
location, you
drink.
did forecasted weather
Yep.
for that. So that would all be based off a zip code right there.
Yeah. You're right. So 4 things that went into that.
And then if you add in their first name, that's number 5.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, person or name. Yeah, that's cool. I like it. You take that's like a rabbit hole. There's just so many things you can do to personalize. I wonder if they're really, those, a lot of people have those Amazon Echoes and those all the listening devices. Hey
Right.
Siri, hey, was it Alexi?
Yes,
Like, yeah, all the like listening in their homes. Do you have one of those?
I do not.
Yeah, I'm like, do I blatantly want Amazon listening to me? Probably not. As I yell at my
Exactly.
dog, for the third time. It's a puppy, but still. So, but like those, I mean, they're listening, they're constantly indexing. People are always now trying to figure out, hey, I had a conversation the other day on my phone, and then sure enough, this ad popped up. I mean, I see it all the time. People are posting like, hello, my marketing friends, is this marketing or is this just a coincidence? Sometimes it's coincidence. Sometimes it's actually marketing. It says, I heard you. And then, here's that thing you need. Go figure.
But the best marketers make it appear as coincidence.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think back to one of the trainings we would do for, we do for sales reps using like Pardot, using marketing automation that can capture, in this sense, like it knows all your whole visit history. You lingered on the pricing page. We always coach them, don't call someone up and be like, hey, I see you're lingering on the pricing page for 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Do you have any questions on pricing? Like, creepy. Avoid the creepy, just make it feel natural. So yeah, to your point,
Yes.
oh, like, how about that? What a coincidence. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Click.
And that brings me to one of the worst examples of personalization, which is
Yes,
where you
do tell.
say, we noticed that you were on our site looking at X. Creepy.
Yes. Oh
The
my gosh.
idea is to not overtly say that you are Big Brother.
Right? Even Big Brother knows that. Like, yeah, I once had a group I worked with where, hopefully they've stopped doing this. They had just one of those simple apps that did the IP tracing that let you know what company was visiting your website. Now, people, if they visit and they don't fill out your forms, well, maybe you need to add forms. But if you have really juicy forms offering valuable data, they still don't want it, they're probably not a good lead. But that being said, this company would just discover their IP address, and then the CEO would actually call up these companies and would say, hey, I saw you were on our website, or no, someone in your company was on our website. Was it you? No? Okay. Who do you think it might have been? And he would just call around to try to find, like, I know that if you're on our website, you need this. So let's talk. It's crazy. It was such a waste of time.
Wow,
I've left you speechless.
that is not a strategy I've heard before.
I don't recommend it. But right, so the creep factor. What have you seen on the creepy side? Do you see people just automatically sharing what they know about people or what they've discovered, or what kind of creepy stories have you seen?
The most creepy is always receiving the emails with the language of we noticed
Oh,
that,
I agree.
because that's just a dead giveaway.
It's like a stalker in a movie writing you a note. Hey, I saw you were on this page and looking at that shampoo. Hey, and you're like, how did you know that? Or whatever it was. Oftentimes we'll say on marketing automation, we tell people not to use this feature. Like Pardot and other tools, HubSpot does this, where if you already know something about someone, that field should disappear. We call it progressive profiling. But sometimes you can turn it on so it leaves the field and you can actually have it populated with the data. It used to drive me bonkers because HubSpot knows better, and I would go to their forums. I don't know if it's still the case. Hopefully they've changed this, but you go to their forums and they're all populated with all the data they know about you. And in best practice is to only populate the email address. People like, okay, I clicked on an email. You might know my email address. Cool. But you know my name, you know my company, you know my phone number or whatever, all the things I've already collected. Like, don't show people that.
Yeah, especially last four of billing zip or last four of your credit card.
Yeah, last four, or there was once a form that asked me my income, and talk
Yeah,
about trying to get married on the first date, like, or not even, stranger at a bar, you're asking them to marry you. Hey, what's your annual income? What's your company's annual revenue? Just trying to sort you out, trying to, like, dude, who are you? I'm not. It was required field too, so that was definitely not a form I completed. So it's like people need to be aware of the kind of things they're asking for.
exactly. The other dead giveaway is if they don't have a default set for if there's a blank in the field. So instead of just receiving an email that says,
Good point.
hello, token first name, comma,
Yeah.
blah, 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 and have other personal details, for them not to have something to
Yeah.
fill in the blank that they don't have my name.
Yep.
is another just fail.
I think in part it's like a magic symbol first underscore name, magic symbol. And I recall being a young lad one time, and I forgot the second symbol, and it sent the entire. It was a small list at the time. Hello, first name. Like, don't do that. But to your point, it's more even harder to catch because you don't even notice it. Is if they don't have data for that field, what is it going to put? You need to know what it's going to put. You need to test that out. And to your point, yeah, a lot of the email apps, they have an ability to say at least there, so like, hey there, or hi, just nothing, or a blank. But it looks really weird if it's like, dear, and by the way, no one should use dear, but hi, blank, comma. You're like, okay, well, you don't know. Or the worst might be adding in like a Mr. or Mrs. Hi, Mrs. Casey Cheshire. Like, what's going on here? How did I get in that bucket?
Yes.
So you see that a lot, huh? It sounds like, and that's an instant reason to disconnect with people, or not, or delete the email,
Or just hit spam complaint.
Oh, even worse. Yeah. I do like hitting that sometimes just to punish bad marketing.
The other thing I don't love is when they only add my first name. Dating back to myths, of course,
Interesting.
just the first name personalization. But if they only use first name and they never go deeper than that, it's
Hmm.
like that shallow, creepy stalker person.
That's a good point.
We know your name, we're going to throw it around, but we're not going to make any other effort to get to know you.
Yeah. Interesting.
Why would you want to stay in that relationship?
I got an email from SAP the other day, and the only reason I know about it is because I tweeted at them. Sometimes you gotta just share with the universe when things aren't going right. The subject line says a personal invite dash sales experience webinar, all lowercase. So they're getting the subject line right, but then the whole email starts with a gigantic image at the top. SAP Sales Cloud, the best run SAP, right? So no one sends a personal email with an image at the top. So it was like it immediately told me, okay, this is not actually this person. Oh, well, now this is crazy. I'm looking at it. It comes from a person's name at info. Oh, this is Calidus Cloud. Well, I'm outing you now, Calidus. So person's name, I'll leave you alone, person, but at info so it's not even from the person, but it's a person. Killing me. And then it said, good morning, to your point. This is why I brought it up. Good morning, Casey, comma. And then just a whole bunch of stuff. So I've kept it. I tweeted at them and I said, you guys need a class in personalization. Maybe you could teach them something. Give them your information.
All right.
They wrote back. They did. They wrote back and they said, we passed your feedback along to the person. Just what you need, right? You're trying to send your emails out. You get a tweet shared from the social team saying somebody hated on your email. But hopefully they can change it because that's not the way to do things right there. So,
No.
okay. So don't just, to your point, don't just do the first name. You got to take it deeper. Otherwise, you're just as disingenuous as not doing it, right? Because you haven't changed anything. You've just said the name. And I think people harken back to the idea that I think it's been proven that first name increases either engagement or at least they're going to read it.
Right.
But maybe that shrinks. Maybe that stat gets smaller and smaller as people realize that everyone says your first name. Like, snail mail spam, all the junk in your box, your post office box, that all has your first name on it. That doesn't mean that's personalized. So.
Right. First name is always a good place to start because another myth is that personalization is too advanced.
Okay.
And as I've mentioned, first name is the tip of the iceberg and it very quickly drops off and becomes very technical.
Got it.
But at least make an effort.
Right.
put the first name in, but then a couple emails later do other forms of personalization.
Mm. Like the call to action. Is that a good one?
Call call to action is a good one.
Um, what else?
Dynamic images,
Okay.
where the image in the email is based off of what's in the database and my interests.
Okay.
For instance, if you're a computer hardware store and I've expressed interest in PCs, don't send me pictures for Macs.
Do you prefer Macs or PCs?
I'm a PC person.
Are you? Well, we can still be friends, but I'm kind of a Mac person. So, but yeah, like be aware of that. And if you sent me a picture of a PC, I'd kind of roll my eyes and be like, not again. Never again.
But the thing is, my browsing history shouldn't even have a Mac in it.
Right. Right. That's true. And mine definitely wouldn't have like a Dell or something. Are they still around? Dell?
I think so.
Dell. Yeah, mine wouldn't have it. See, now my browsing history has it. Duh! But yeah, to your point, be more targeted, be more relevant, swap things out. We had a great customer that they work with public and private health, and apparently that for them, at least what they were selling, it was a big difference. The folks in public health, private health, and these are hospitals too. They were completely different from each other. They handle things in different ways, and they don't want to be talked to like the other guy. And so they use dynamic personalization to show public hospital images, all that, because the browsing history through Pardot tracked the fact that they went to their center of excellence for public health. And so everything they saw after that, the call to action, the images, even example hospitals were all examples of the public ones, the ones that related to them. So it was like genius. And they actually got a call from someone, or a sales rep told the marketer, who then told us, because we're working with them, that a customer had purchased and specifically said, like, I purchased from you guys because you focus so well on public health. And it's like, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's, we're showing you that we care and we focus in on this particular element, and you're making a purchase decision. Meanwhile, someone else is probably purchasing based on them buying, or on private health. So good example of like just personalization. It can just work. What kind of things have you seen? What kind of um, victories from, you say, doing everything right or working with your company? You're helping clients out, helping them plan these things out. Have you seen any like really cool engagements?
I have seen really cool engagements, but what I have seen work the most are the consistent wins. Not just you
Interesting.
send out a blast sales email
Right.
that has personalization or some new trick, like a countdown timer,
Right.
and see a higher response rate off of that. But what I see is the customers who really take, or my clients who take the time to get to know their customers and to build out that customer journey
Yep.
via email, have the best results.
Interesting. Like that makes sense. And by the way, you've been smashing a lot of myths today. I love it. You can't help but you're just smashing, like your clay pots are just getting broken all over the place. You're smashing things left and right. And I love the fact that really what I got from that was consistency is key in personalization, you know?
Consistency. Don't just have a welcome email,
Yeah.
but have the full life cycle.
Yeah. Personalize the whole
Unfortunately,
journey.
what I have seen is that even for an embarrassing amount of companies now, they're still struggling to get a welcome email or a welcome series.
Yeah. That's true.
But the welcome email is so key because it really sets the tone and expectations for the email communication.
Mm. And if you should pay attention to the future ones,
Right.
or unsubscribe and mark spam.
Right.
Interesting. So the welcome email. What's a welcome email to you? Because I think people probably have different definitions. I probably have a different one.
Welcome email to me is when a subscriber joins a list, whether
Mhm.
it's through a purchase or through an opt-in of saying, hey, I want your newsletter or send me more information about your company,
Yeah.
that they receive an triggered email in response saying, hey, welcome.
Right.
Welcome to the family, welcome to the list. Oftentimes, the best emails will have some sort of special welcome offer.
Hmm.
Again, if you're a commerce company,
Right.
even something as simple as, or as low as like 15% off.
Right. Just sets the tone that we're going to send you these juicy little details. I
Yes.
guess, yeah, for restaurants, it might even be like a free app, free appetizers, just a simple, straightforward, hey, pay attention, fill out your form here, get a free app,
Or free drink or,
free drink, yeah, free Mai Tai, pina
yep,
colada. That'd be good right about now. Yeah, okay, so set the tone, offer something of value right off the bat so that, yeah, I guess it would probably be a waste or misstep to send a welcome for welcome's sake, welcome. Nothing. You just wasted your time. But welcome, and here's something to get us started on the right track. Either, if you're B2C, it's a coupon or discount or something to sink your teeth into, or in a B2B side, just a really, like maybe like one of your best pieces of content. Like, this thing will help you. Here you go.
right.
Interesting. Kind of reminds me of the, sending a welcome without anything in it reminds me of people that send emails saying, come check out our new website. That's it. Just check out our new website. We're so proud of it. We made a website. It's like, all right, is this 1998 and you coded it yourself on AOL.com, or what about your website really? Should I stop doing what I'm doing? Let me pause this podcast and go check out your website, right? Like, what are we even talking about? If you are listening to this and if I can help save your life just once, please do not send an email saying, check out our website. Like, it's crazy. But I digress. I
Yes.
love this. This is cool. They struggle to send out a welcome email, but you got to do that. And that sets the journey for the personalization. Now, what if you don't necessarily know the information? I've seen people use welcome emails to maybe further sort somebody into the right bucket.
Absolutely. You can use those emails to get a better sense of who your customers are based on what they respond to.
Right. Right. I've even seen
And
like
it
a welcome series, like a series trying to deduce a little more about you. By the time that ends, though, they got your number and you're stuck in their amazing journey they've customized for you. What are you seeing?
I think that's one of the smartest ways to email
Cool.
and to get a relationship via email with your customer off to the right start.
Mm.
I've seen successful welcome series emails with as few as 3 emails. I've seen others that have a few more.
And are they each one is listening, or each one is asking a question or has links, or when there's a series of them, like we just talked about a really good just a single one, but what are they doing when they're doing a series?
They are providing different content and different options
Huh.
and offers and seeing which appeals
Mm. Like a choose
to
your own adventure story.
exactly.
Yeah. Do they even make those anymore?
I don't know, but I grew up reading them, so
I did
I've always
too.
appreciated them with triggered email marketing.
Yeah. I wonder, I guess they could make them on the Kindle now and you could just click and it jumps you to the, I don't know if, did you ever save the page to be like, oh no, that was a horrible idea. Let me go back to page.
I
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and I would go through, read it once in one way, and then I'd go through and do it whatever
Oh,
I
would
didn't
you?
do a second way.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
So by the time I had read the entire book, every page, it just took me 2 rounds to do it.
They should do more of that. They should do movies like that too.
That's an interesting thought.
I mean, it would take more work. And I think that's another, I mean, that kind of ties into this. personalization takes work, right? It takes effort. You're not just sending one email out, and maybe I don't want to say lazy way, but sometimes marketers are busy or lazy or busy. And so I got time. I want to just send this email out, but your engagement, just sending that email out, that's one thing. But if you really want to get those results, be smart about it. To your point, get the data points, start personalizing, take it a step deeper, build a welcome series. I
Well,
like
to
it.
your point about the lazy, busy email marketer,
Yeah.
the biggest challenge that I have seen is keeping emails fresh and innovative.
Interesting. That does seem like a challenge. People get desensitized, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen that before.
People get desensitized, marketers get busy, and
Yeah.
so it always goes to the default or what the lowest common denominator is.
Interesting.
And so
Sad
emails
but
can
true.
become stale.
Yeah.
It
Sad
takes
but
a little
true.
extra work to code a carousel.
That's true. It does. I think the challenge really it hits both B2B and B2C. I mean, B2C, if you're trying to get that repeat buy and they've already done a repeat buy and you're trying to think what else could they buy, that's a challenge. On the B2B side, you may have a 6-month journey to go down and take them through that story, but at least maybe you can then repeat it afterward. Create your own little choose your own adventure story in your automation.
Right. And on the B2B side, it's even more important to keep emails fresh and innovative and interesting.
The next question from that, right, is
How?
yeah, how do we do that? Help me, Meredith.
That's where adding in a few tricks, adding in personalization, adding in different forms of content,
Mm,
because on the B2B side, content is king.
right.
Content's king on the B2C side too, but in email, if you're B2B, you're going to be less offer driven and more content driven.
Totally. Or you should be, because that's what you should be doing. Yeah. Right. So really mixing it up, using personalization as an answer to that stagnancy.
Mix up the content that you're offering so it's not always an ebook or an
Mm-hmm.
infographic.
Mm-hmm.
Mix up the topics,
Yep. I like
mix
that.
up the format of how that email is delivered.
I like that. Go personal, go branded, go this, go that. Just keep things changing and fresh. I like that. I suppose this is where story comes in too, because I know you're big into story and how do you tie in story with personalization? I mean, it sounds like some of these journeys we're taking people on.
Where I see the two most easily intersect is in the content of the email. So
Okay.
you can use the email body to deliver your story to the customer.
Okay.
And in doing so, you also create a story for the customer to tell others because you're taking them on this journey.
Right.
And if it's a really cool journey or if it's something beyond the norm or beyond the expected,
Hmm.
it will have, you can create an emotional impact on your customer.
Interesting. The emotional impact that really stands out for me. Not just another boring SAP email, but
Right.
an emotionally impacting email. Interesting. You know, and even thinking as I looked over at that sad email from SAP, it told me the time was at 9 a.m. PST. Now I know that would work well for you, but for me, I have to do math. Another simple way that they could change things up.
Right.
Emotion. So what are some of the best ways you can get that emotional impact in that story brand, in that experience?
One is being true to yourself and true to your brand,
Mm,
values driven. For a
okay.
B2B company, be more values driven and also just stepping outside of the expected,
Yeah.
showing that personality. Even B2B companies do have personality. It's just harder to tease it out sometimes.
Right. Right. Be. It's almost like that. The beta H, the beta human, right? You're selling
Right.
to a person. You know, it's okay to have a little personality in there, and but you know, the right kind of personality, because and being authentic, right? Being really you, not some sort of fake email from another company. I'm reading this email. Don't get sucked into this funk. Like, did you really mean that? Is that really a person saying that, or are you just trying to use colloquial English in your very formulaic email? But have that personality. And I don't have you heard of Drift or bumped into them?
I have not bumped into Drift yet.
Drift is interesting. It's like a remake on chat, and but they blend in AI type automation, or at least they're going the direction of AI. They blend in automation pathways so that you start with a robot talking to you on chat, but if you happen to talk about a human or want to talk to a person, it magically drops a person right in there.
Okay.
Otherwise, it can take you down a whole journey, finding out if you're customer support or sales, or if it can help you. And you can program all this stuff. But what's really cool is that Dave, I think it's Gearhart. He's their VP of marketing, and he's been on LinkedIn just sharing these videos, kind of like this. No, not even a microphone, just like him and a laptop. You hold up in a conference room, just chatting, almost like he's on an episode of Lost or Survivor or something, and he's just sharing. And some people have related it as like a soap opera of B2B software and tech, but it's captivating because it's authentic. He's being himself. He's walked through the airport talking about a cool meeting he had, and he's excited about this new feature they're releasing. So it gets the message across, but in a way that totally drops all the sort of highfalutin, we're SaaS, you got to take us seriously, type thing.
That is such a great example.
Yes. Shout out, Dave. So tell me, your company, now I screwed up the name at the beginning. It's Solerno, right?
Right.
How did I screw that up? I can't even imagine that. It's such a great name. So
Yeah.
wait, didn't you have a story? Where did that come from? Was there a cool
So Salerno was inspired by the Fatih Akin movie Solino,
Solino?
which is a story about two little Italian German boys. Their parents, well, I guess the whole family is from Italy, but they moved up to Germany. And Solino is their hometown in Italy.
Okay.
But while they were in Germany, one of the little boys, the main character, asked this movie director who has come to their town to film his latest movie what the most important thing in life is.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie director looks at the little boy and says, "Live with fire and passion. That is the most important thing in life." And then, of course, the movie is about him and his brother and his family and how that plays out in their lives and whether or not they find it and live that way or not.
Right. What's the movie called again?
Solino,
Solino. Solino. It's just spelled like Salerno without the R?
Solino.
Soleno.
L. No, Solino. I changed the vowel and added an R.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. We'll put a link on the show notes to that. That sounds like a cool movie. And so you saw that, it was an impact, and you thought, create a company around that?
Yeah,
Fiery passion?
it's, I think it's a great way to live, and it's something that I have tried, that describes how I have tried to live my life,
Right,
and those around me would hopefully agree that I've also lived with much fire and passion.
right. If not, you push them off the boat,
Yes.
right into the water with their iPhone in their pocket. or their Android if they're not a Mac family. But yeah,
Right.
that's really cool. So who are you? This fiery passion person that loves personalization. Who are you? Take us back. What kind of, and I'll let you put your ears back in. Yeah.
Who
What
am I? I'm someone who can't keep my earbuds in.
you can't keep your earbuds in. Oh, they keep falling out. This is kind of cool. If you want to see this, log into YouTube. No. So like take us back. How did you become you? How did you get to the point where you're living with fiery passion? Take us back to being 12 or 2, or where did all this sort of journey, what were some of the big impacts you had, or the points that you took?
Well, for me, one of my biggest passions has been riding and training horses in dressage.
No kidding.
Previously, I was full-time professional, and now I'm semi-professional
Professional what? Like,
dressage trainer and rider. So
really? What
it
was that first
was
word you said?
dressage.
Yeah, with dressage.
It's one of the Olympic equestrian sports.
No kidding.
And while I was fully immersed in that world, I had the opportunity to work for some people who have since gone on to qualify for the World Equestrian Games, the Olympics. Some of the horses that I
Wow.
know have gone on to those championships as well in those competitions. So it's been quite a journey of passion.
Wow. I'm looking at pictures on Wikipedia. You get to wear that fancy outfit and everything with the top hat.
And then after the one problem with athletics, of course, is that you make your living and everything from your using your body.
Mm,
And at one point, I realized that I wanted something else
right.
in my life, so it wasn't just reliant on my body, and I could go longer and go harder.
I'm sure that, I mean, I've done like a trail ride or two, and then you're a little sore after that, but you're on a horse probably most of the day training, and I mean, it's passion, but at the same time, it's probably wearing you out.
It is. There are a lot of people I know with back injuries, and unfortunately, I've had to call the ambulance on a few people
Really? And not even from falling, just
from falling.
from falling. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, and someone I knew at the barn was in marketing. I was getting my MBA at the time,
Huh.
and she knew of an email company that needed a strategic analyst. And so she just forwarded my resume along, and the rest has been history.
Wow. Interesting. So, like, what a cool transition. So you're kind of looking around, seeing, what other kind of, passions you can launch into. Now, had you bumped into the Solerno movie before marketing?
I had.
Okay, so and you were just sort of living your dressage, is that the right way?
Yes.
You were living that with fiery passion as well. And then
Right.
bumped into email. Did you just launch into that like a crazy person and just dive in, or what was that? What
I
was the transition like?
I love digital marketing.
Yeah.
And so at the time when I was looking around for something, I didn't know if I wanted a full digital marketing agency that was omnichannel or if I wanted something more focused and specialized.
Right.
Focused and specialized is what came,
Right.
and I have no regrets.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. It's cool that you have that passion for digital marketing. And do you still ride on a daily basis, just not as, up tempo, or
I do.
yeah,
I still do ride often, just not as intensive. And it's great to go out, go ride, and then come back and market,
interesting.
or market and then ride, depending on how my day is structured.
I wonder if it just gives your brain a chance to just, get creative and expand and, you know,
It does.
take your mind off of things.
It does. It's a nice reset.
That's really cool. My daughter actually got into horseback riding. She's 7 now. She's been doing it for maybe a year or 2 years. Super
Okay.
cute. Little
Oh,
and the helmets they have are like they're almost like a bike helmet, but
yeah.
it's for riding. We finally stopped using the one that everyone shared at the stables. We're like, okay, you've done this for a year now. We'll get you your own helmet. And a friend of mine had given her some boots and riding pants that her daughter had used. And so cute to see her on there. She's just now got to the point where she earned her reins, and then she's using those, and um, I think yeah, and no longer just going in a circle, right? But
Okay.
actually going around the edge
Yeah.
of the area along the fence. And one of her favorite things is to pull up alongside the mailbox that they've got, to reach over, lean in, and get the mail out, and then put it back in.
Too cute.
Yeah, yeah. When did you
Wow.
start? When did you start writing? Just early age too, or?
I started when I was 7, so about your daughter's age.
No kidding. No kidding. Wow. So you must be really good. I mean, if you've been doing it for that long, can you like take a nap on a horse? Can you do like circus tricks, or like you probably have so much experience and you're just so comfortable up there. It's almost like driving a car for someone else, maybe.
I am. I can do a lot of the fancier moves, but it really is just that it's become automated habit,
Yeah, like muscle memory.
muscle memory. I can
Yeah,
have a conversation with someone and do everything I want with the horse. And
right,
so it's two completely different sets to my brain now.
right,
Just like riding a bike is for a lot of people.
right. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. So for me, that's indoor skydiving or just skydiving. Depends on the weather, right? Go indoors when it's cold out. And when I remember was first learning to sort of fly around, it was hard because you're thinking about everything. And we take people when they join the company, we take them flying because it's crazy. And if you think about it, it's harder and you're not doing it as well. And you got to get it into like muscle memory, like we're talking about, where you just, like right now, if you ask me to turn, I kind of know how I do it, but I just sort of do something and it makes me turn, And so um, it's fun to get to that point because then you really feel like you're just moving as opposed to controlling something, with inputs and outputs.
Yeah. Well, if you can have a conversation while skydiving, I'm impressed. You got to be the one screaming all the way down.
Yeah, no conversations. Like you see the movies where they're like, "Hey Bob, I hate you." Jeff, the butler did it. It's like none of that's happening. You hear nothing. You can hear a high, but you can hear your high pitched scream if you're yelling really loud, but that's about it until you pull open the parachute. Then what's crazy is it goes from being like way loud to being completely quiet, except for the flap of your parachute in like a second when it opens up. So that's crazy.
Well, if I ever end up in New Hampshire, I'll have to go
Yes.
skydiving with you.
Yes. Yeah. The invite is out there for sure. Anytime. And I'll let you know if I ever have a couple parachutes out there on the West Coast. I'll give you a shout. So on that note, where can people find you? Where can people connect? Websites, LinkedIn, Twitter. What's good?
The best way to connect with me, honestly, is LinkedIn.
Okay.
Like so many others, I'm quasi addicted to that platform.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
my LinkedIn is just Meredith Crawford 1,
Okay.
number 1.
So you are it. You are the number one Meredith Crawford on LinkedIn.
Right.
Yes. Good. I should be the only Casey Cheshire. There's a few others, but they don't count. Just me. Okay, so Twitter too for Salerno.
Twitter, Solerno Media,
Okay.
at Solerno Media. And then Facebook is also at Solerno Media.
Okay, great. Good. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting personalization and equestrian sports and all sorts of fun things with me.
Well, thank you so much again for having me, Casey. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This is cool. I'll have to get Lizzie to watch some videos on dressage. Is that it? Dressage?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get her watch some of those videos. That sounds really cool. Well, thanks again. You have a killer week.
You too. Thanks, Casey.
All right. Well, this has been the Hardcore Marketing Show, everyone. We will catch you next time.